12 months ago, Allvin and Rutherford had us smoking a lot of hope, all right? These two were, close to becoming the best duo in Vancouver Canucks history. I'm sorry, Henrik and Daniel, but that's what a Stanley Cup could have done. And now we're here, in the now, and I want to punch myself in the face because I'm scared that I'm about to deal with Canuckasuckaitis again. Anyways, do you believe in these two, or do you not believe in miracles?
The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday and welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks reporter for Daily Hive, Vancouver. And Kyle, I am believing in miracles, okay? I got no reason to believe in miracles. Maybe it's because of my beautiful wife. Maybe it's because of my two kids. Maybe it's because I get to do this with you. But in terms of Canucks fandom, miracles have been few and far between. But I'm excited to dive into the conversation about should we still believe in Jim Rutherford and Patrik Allvin? And I'm going to tell you one reason why you should still believe in them. We'll break that down after we get to some of the news today about the Canucks potentially losing one of their key executives, all right? And this guy is one of the most longest tenure members of the organization, Ryan Johnson. He's been with the team since 2013, slowly rising up the ranks. A report from Rick Dhaliwal today suggested that other NHL teams are looking at this guy. And Kyle, diving into the Ryan Johnson story, even as far back as 2018, Trevor Linden was saying that he thinks this guy is going to be a general manager or an NHL executive one day. Now, it's interesting how this news popped up. We're going to talk about Allvin and Rutherford, but Kyle, is this news to you? Like, would you be, if you're the Canucks as a fan or a member of that management group, would you be worried about losing a guy like Ryan Johnson, who, again, has been there pretty much longer than anyone else in the hockey operations department?
First off, I want to say mad respect to Ryan Johnson. I'm sorry. I remember watching him when I was a younger fan of the game, St. Louis Blues player, then came to the Canucks, just a blocking machine, would block everything. Good skater too. I remember there's one instance where he crashed into the board, and I think he might have got stretchered out of the game, but he might have played right away because he's just a good old hockey player. I don't know if he's Canadian, but just a tough guy in general. Good guy. Always was a fan of his game. Now to carry off of your concern, your questions, this theory that he might go to another team at the end of the season, similar to what we thought would happen to Manny Malhotra. All I got to say, it is what it is. It is what it is. No, straight up. I don't have a strong opinion about this because people get promoted when you win championships. That happens when you're, I think this guy's been an executive in the NHL since 2014, 2012 or something, some large number. He's just been learning how to do all of this, learning how to do all this managing. And again, it led to a lot of success last year. I think he has a similar cadence, or a similar philosophy to Allvin and Rutherford. Very serious, a lot of structure. And again, it paid off in Abbotsford. Look at what they did. I mean, look at what they did when they lost one of their best players to Ratu, right? Just kept it going. That guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to run an organization, and I'm sure he'll get a job ASAP. But again, am I sad about this? Am I pissed off about this? Am I concerned? No, unless Allvin and Rutherford, they can't get the job done this year and they're let go, and we I don't know, would he be in consideration for you? I know we're getting ahead of it, and this is a depressing ass conversation, but it's unless that's the case, we may lose the next up and coming GM, then maybe, but up until that point, which I don't even want happening, again, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think there is a big difference between being, an AHL general manager and an NHL general manager, right? And, you got to give Ryan Johnson a ton of credit for what he did down with the Abbotsford Canucks. And, as the guys go down, was bringing in a guy like Jujhar Khaira, Sammy Blais as well. Because, again, Ryan Johnson, even though he's been the AHL GM, Patrik Allvin has said it time and time again that he's had a hand in making decisions both at the AHL and NHL level. And I thought it was pretty telling, too, when Jim Benning got the axe back during my first game in the booth back in late 2021 there. Aquilini also fired, Jonathan Wall and Chris Gear, but Ryan Johnson was the guy they kept around. And pretty quickly, Jim Rutherford gave Ryan Johnson more responsibility, right? And this guy, again, risen through the ranks throughout the organization, man. Now, I think it waits to be seen whether he could actually manage an NHL team. But, another thing I found interesting kind of digging into this too was before, Cami Granado and Emil Castonguay were hired, Ryan Johnson was actually doing some salary cap management for the Canucks as well. So he's had his hand in a lot of different areas in the team. He's been with this organization now for 12 years. And Kyle, I would agree with you. Like, I wouldn't be losing sleep if Ryan Johnson were to go to another team, but you don't want to lose this guy, right? I mean, Patrik Allvin and Jim Rutherford, they've been pumping his tires. Again, this guy's just grinded, much like he was at the NHL level. And I do think one day that he is going to get his shot, potentially as an NHL general manager. I mean, there's only so many of those jobs, but there's not much higher for him to go, right? He's an AGM right now. He's a GM of an AHL team. This guy, the next step for him to take would be to become an NHL general manager.
And say what you want about a guy like Jim Rutherford being at the top of the executive position within the Vancouver Canucks organization, but he's a good guy to learn from. So, again, Ryan Johnson been in this role or been just a part of upper management for a long time, just won a championship, still around Allvin and Rutherford. Dude, I know this is the crazy term to use, but the grooming that he's getting, it's it's like, I'm not going to say second to none. It's not like he's working with, who's the GM in Tampa Bay again?
Julien Brisebois.
Julien Brisebois, or what, it's not like he's working under Bill Zito, but he's around serious people. And if you listen to Ryan Johnson speak, I mean, I like listening to him speak. He strikes confidence anytime he opens his mouth. And you want that type of guy being at the head of the organization when it comes to PR, media relations, to the fans, the connectivity. That guy has a strong voice. Remember, a guy like Jim Benning, right? Assistant GM for Boston, wins the Stanley Cup against the Canucks way back when, gets hired to be the GM 2014, 2015 or whatever. And right away, you could tell that this guy's just not the guy. No, right away, because he struck more fear into the fan base every time he opened his mouth than any sort of confidence. And when you look at a guy like Ryan Johnson, again, he's articulate, smooth. This may not matter too, but he keeps himself in shape too. I just feel like he's super serious about setting the example and being a leader within an organization. And again, he won a championship last year. I think he has a lot to do with it. And again, I know he's the AHL GM and Allvin, and maybe Ryan Johnson is next to him when he's signing guys like Archie Baines, or thinking about extending a Linus Karlsson or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, it's Allvin most of the time is funneling the talent to the AHL team. I get it, but again, I think it's a guarantee that this guy's gonna get hired ASAP within the next 2 years. I'm gonna believe that Abbotsford is still gonna have a lot of success, and I'm just gonna believe that this guy's gonna interview well. And Trevor, now to have a more, I would say, a more relevant conversation involving Ryan Johnson, because I think again, training camp's about to start. I don't know if there's a lot of pessimism towards the Vancouver Canucks, or there's not much optimism to say this. I think that's the more obvious thing to say. But we've been trying to do it, strike more hope into the fan base before training camp. It's it's good that we have guys like this in the organization. And don't forget that the Canucks won the Calder Cup last year. They not all is doom and gloom. And I know it didn't work with the big club, but maybe the Vancouver Canucks, the real pro team, the one that we all cheer for, right? Maybe they're so much better this season because of the floor being absolutely raised. And, we talk about, what's going to happen with Sasson, Archie Baines, Linus Karlsson, the bottom of the lineup, boom, bam. Dude, Ryan Johnson has a lot to do with why Elias Pettersson got it so quickly. He came from Sweden at the end of the 2024 season, or the midway point of the 2023-2024 season. Elias Pettersson, and he got it right away. You could hear that, Ryan Johnson, when he was talking about DP, he was yeah, he gets it. And I guarantee, that leadership coming from the top from Ryan Johnson, it helped. It made it smoother. Look at Karel, Butter Chicken Karyatsev, same thing, right? Even Arshdeep and Max Sasson, again, the work that Ryan Johnson has done, it may look super sexy this season for the big club if we win games, right? Because in theory, it kind of did look good last year. Arshdeep looked better last year. Again, it wasn't perfect, but he looked better. Max Sasson looked good with the Vancouver Canucks. DP looked good with the Vancouver Canucks last year. It's already working. Whatever he's saying, whatever he's preaching, however he's getting these guys ready to be NHLers. Again, if you look at the film of Ryan Johnson, how he got his way into the NHL and the way he played, like, again, he has the intangibles of a good leader, and whatever he's preaching, those players are listening.
100%. And I think that grind of going through the AHL for a couple seasons before he eventually did crack the NHL, like that makes a difference, right? He knows how to treat guys in the minors. He knows from experience that you got to put in your time in the minors. And I think he knows how to put together a system to develop guys to bring to the NHL level. And, for some of the negatives that have gone on with the Canucks, which we might get into on the other side, I mean, one of the big positives has been the development in Abbotsford and Ryan Johnson has spearheaded it all. I just want to give a quick round of applause to Ryan Johnson, man, because I'm not sure if the Vancouver Canucks will ever win a championship in my lifetime, but at least Ryan Johnson can be one Canucks championship, man. Come on.
All right, Trevor, that was one of the darkest, dumbest things you've ever said. Can you please take that back? Because I don't want us ever being like, I don't want to be at your deathbed when you're 103 years old and we're going through our life and like, yo, we're crying a bit because like it's your time to go and whatnot. And you're like, oh, at least Abbotsford won a cup. Dude, shut up. I'd pull the plug. No, I'm done.
Like, if you weren't dead, I'd kill you. Let us know in the comments. As a Canuck fan, are you worried about potentially losing Ryan Johnson to another NHL team? Curious what people think about that, because really, if he's either going to stay in his role or he's going to become a GM, that's pretty much the next steps for Ryan Johnson. Okay, on the other side, let's talk about the current GM of the Vancouver Canucks, who mentioned that the years are flying by, man. Hey, we saw Jim Benning, the toll that 8 years took on him. Patrik Allvin, maybe the years are taking a toll on him too. Let's get into our belief in Rutherford and Allvin coming up on the other side here on Locked On Canucks. All right, we got to shout out our friends over at Monarch Money, baby. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth. And when you don't have the full picture, you could end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's your all-in-one personal finance tool that brings together your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your cellular device. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've been putting off organizing your finances, stop it and start using Monarch, because Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, and get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off of your first year. That's 50% off of your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs. The last week of the offseason, we did it, right? The last Friday of the offseason, I guess that's a better way to put it.
The last Friday of the offseason, man, and let's celebrate with this, man. Let's go.
Trevor's trivia starts now.
All right, before we wrap up on Ryan Johnson, Kyle, tell me all 5 NHL teams that Ryan Johnson played for.
St. Louis, Chicago, Vancouver. The other two's gonna be hard, man. Like no, it's gonna be a waste of time. You gotta tell me the other two.
Yeah, Florida and Tampa Bay, 3 for 5, 60%. Pretty much like our high school marks right there.
Again, look at the film, man. Ryan Johnson, one hell of a player, straight up. He was different. Anyways, Allvin, Rutherford, let's get into it. Get the comments going. We'll read a couple after this little spiel, but I want to gauge, I think this is a good time to have the conversation because, again, it's the last Friday of the offseason. How much belief do you have in Rutherford and Allvin? We said it off the top 12 months ago. I mean, these two are dogs. We believe the vision. And then everything in between then and now was just loud, explosive. It was Miller for Hedel. It was in a first round pick and Marcus Patterson, whatever, right? In essence, though, it was GMing, especially in Allvin's case, where they couldn't get the most for a number one center. It was different. It was because the year before we're trading for Zadorov and Lindholm, and then you fast forward a year later, and it's like Oh, like
We're trading away JT Miller. Yeah.
how did he not get the most for an elite player? And then before that, it's like getting rid of certain guys like Ian Cole and Zadorov, and just a premise on the Ian Cole thing. Like, what happens if the Canucks keep Ian Cole last season? Like, what if they had more leaders last year in that dressing room, right? But they don't pay Ian Cole, but they pay Vincent Desharnais. And then they put Vincent Desharnais in a trade package involving the first round pick and whatnot, and like all that stuff to get Marcus Pettersson. It was more of like a trading salary cap and whatnot, or whatever it was, like a cap dump. How would you explain that type of trade? And then a couple weeks later, Pittsburgh gets a draft pick for Vincent Desharnais. So it was just like a bad season. It was a bad season as executives for those guys. And on top of all that, again, they were loud. They were talking shit about their players left, right, and center.
Yeah, it was the last 12 months have been a mess for this management team, right? The summer of 2024 wasn't great. Like Danton Heinen was a Canuck. It's easy to forget about that. Look, I'm going to tell you why I do still believe in Allvin and Rutherford. And you can say that I believe the bar has been lowered in Vancouver thanks to Jim Benning. Like maybe my bar has been lowered. But Allvin and Rutherford have proven us wrong before. And that's what I keep going back to. When I think about the Kane move and not liking it, when I think about the Miller trade and hating it, when I think about all these moves, I keep going back to the fact that they've proven us wrong time and time again. They've made unpopular decisions that have ended up working out for this team. Trading away Bo Horvat ended up being a good move that allowed us to get Philip Hronek, which at the time, Kyle, our first day of Locked On, we were ripping. But now we're doing an episode yesterday gassing this guy up, saying that he might be one of the main reasons why Quinn Hughes will stay in Vancouver. The decision to, fire Bruce Boudreau amidst all that media circus and hire Rick Tocchet, all of these end up being good moves that were lambasted at the time. And I keep thinking that, even though it's been so loud the past 12 months, even though Jim Rutherford has opened his mouth more than he should have, even though they made these moves that have, rightly been ripped or ridiculed, the trade deadline was a mess too.
Yep.
They have made all these moves that have proved us wrong before. And I look at next season and, right now I do still believe, but I think again, there's more pessimism towards these guys because the guys that they've acquired recently, the guys that they've hired, they're going to have to go out and prove it. And I'm keeping an eye on a few guys next season in terms of, the guys that will decide whether Patrik Allvin and Jim Rutherford have done a good job. I think obviously an Elias Pettersson bounce back, right? Because that contract's been ripped. Can Marcus Pettersson, basically be like a top pairing defenseman? He doesn't have to be in that role, but just be like a solid shutdown guy. Philip Hedl and Evander Kane and Adam Foote, like those are probably the 5 guys I'm really keeping my eye on next season to determine whether or not these guys have done a good job.
Yeah, and like an emphasis on Philip Hedl and Marcus Pettersson. I think those two hold so much in terms of where this team is going to go. And honestly, I want to put it at like just to be hopeful. I think if I was like being realistic, I put it at 50-50, but I think there's a 51% chance that no, they killed it. Like trading JT Miller for Marcus Pettersson and Philip Hedl and Valentino Martini Mancini was actually a pretty good trade. Like I'm warming up to that. I really am. Like let's see how Hedl looks this year. I'm more confident in Marcus Pettersson and what we're going to get. Legitimate top 4 defenseman. You look at the Swedish guys that we have coming up the ranks in our decor, right? It's probably so important to have DPD and Tom Melander around Marcus Pettersson. Like there's a lot to that, right? And we needed better leaders. We needed a different style of leadership in that room. We get rid of Miller. We get Marcus Pettersson. Like you can't really like switch it up more than that, right? All in all, though, like I think there's a 51% chance that that thing does work out. And I want to talk about this too. I feel like, again, a lot happened in the last 12 months with Allvin and Rutherford, especially with the trades that they did make and the players that they did bring in, right? And the money that was spent and whatnot. And they failed on a lot of those misses. Like you brought up Vincent Desharnais, Danton Heinen, and whatnot, right? Yo, they got the Derek Forbort one right. We didn't think that was right. We didn't. And Derek Forbort played really, really, really good last year, considering that we didn't think he was going to be anything. Like I was watching Boston Bruins commentators talking about this guy. Again, they have a different standard of what they deem as a good player based on the fact that they always win games as outside of last year, right? So maybe that's why they were talking shit about Derek Forbort. But he played really good for us. And that's in a season where his father passed away. Rest in peace. But he was dealing with a lot. right? And he was still able to be a legitimate penalty killer on this team, right? For real. And I know we give a lot of crap to Rutherford and Allvin on how they handled the Brock Besser situation at the trade deadline. It wasn't really cool how Allvin mentioned what he mentioned at the press conference, considering that the team was still in a playoff race. And it just sounded like a bad excuse. Now, we did sign him, so I guess it wrote that one off, but we didn't trade Pius Suter, and we lost him. That's just not good enough for a team that barely makes the playoffs. Now, all that being said, how much credit are you giving Rutherford and Allvin for not doing much this offseason? As opposed, considering that they were like, oh, we got to get a second line center. We got to get a second line center. Like, are you giving them any credit for not overpaying for a maybe number 2 center, right? Or is that just me trying to be optimistic and not giving them enough shit for not doing enough work? Like, where do you put that? Because there's so much pressure on these guys to do something, and they didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's a tough question, Kyle, because I think on the one hand, it's a failure, right? Because what did they say in April is that they're going to go get a second line center. It's going to be expensive, right? They did this whole thing that they've done in the past where they pre-warn the market before the move happens. And now here we are on September 12th, and they have not gone out and acquired that second line center. But I do give them credit for not making the trade just for the sake of making a trade, right? I mean, I think in the Jim Benning era, we would have seen an overpayment for a Brandon Sutter type player, So I got to give Allvin and Rutherford credit for not making that move, for staying patient, even though I think there's a rationale that this Canucks organization, this team should absolutely not be patient. When you think about Quinn Hughes potentially leaving and all that, like now is the time to potentially go all in, but you don't want to hamper your future just to make the playoffs, right? Because that's what this Canucks organization has done for most of the past 10 plus years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do got to applaud their patience to an extent. I think it's going to be very much wait and see. The first 10, 15, 20 games are going to be very telling for this team. And at that point, maybe we'll see a bigger move. But I do think it's a good thing that they didn't pay an arm and a leg just to get some, borderline second line center.
Yeah.
Or Pavel Zacha is kind of what I'm thinking.
And in saying that, I do want to talk about another player that I think can make Patrik Allvin, not necessarily make him look bad, but can make him look very, very good. Very, very good. We're just talking about the center position and whatnot. I do want to bring that player up, but it might lead to like a 7 to 8 minute conversation. So I think we'll table it for the other side, okay? Other side. Beggsy, I don't know how much time you have left, but there's it's a Friday. I might need you to like stick around for like 15 minutes here, okay? It's Friday, last Friday of the offseason. We got to read some comments, and we got to talk about this player that can make, again, Patrik Allvin look like, again, one of the best GMs in hockey.
100%, man. Hey, I'm here for the people, even though I wasn't here for the people earlier this week. But I'm here now, and we'll be here on the other side on Locked On Canucks. All right, let's go shout out our friends over at FanDuel. Man, oh man, what did I say yesterday, Kyle? On the Green Bay Packers bandwagon, not as a fan. No. I ain't wearing yellow and green. That's disgusting. But as a bettor, I was liking the Green Bay Packers yesterday. They delivered, whooping the Washington Commandos. And again, if you want to get in on the action like me, place bad bets, make some mistakes, do it responsibly, and do it on FanDuel, okay? Because FanDuel is the place to go if you're placing bets. And right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. The app is so damn easy to use. I can even use it. And guess what, man? Sunday, it's a day off for me, and it just adds a little more energy to my Sundays. So are you ready to play? Go download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Boom, bam, shout to FanDuel. People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. We're going to get to your comments again. Answer the question. Just give us a rating from like 1 to 10, okay? 10 being like I got the most hope, 1 being I don't trust old people, or bald people. How much faith do you have in Rutherford and Allvin? Okay, going into next season. Again, the last Friday of the off season, we finally made it. And again, how much faith do you have in the management group? Trevor, I'm going to assume that you have a lot of faith, considering you probably don't want to talk shit about the president of the Vancouver Canucks first day media pass. Like maybe you don't want to get hit with a cane. Okay, Rutherford. I don't know. Maybe he's like, how old is Rutherford? 77, 76, 73?
70, 76, I believe.
So 70, he's 76 years old.
Let me just double check that. He's in his upper echelon of the 70s. He is 76 years old, baby.
Holy. Honestly speaking, man, we should all be inspired, man. We should all be inspired by Rutherford. If he's like he's charismatic, he's doing his thing. I know we crack jokes at him, like being maybe quote unquote senile. Is that the word for like how we talked about the Hughes brothers situation? But the guy's looking good for 76, man.
Well, dude, he has like a teenage son, right? Maybe that's helping keep him young at 76. I don't know, man.
Fatherhood. There you go. Hey, speaking of fatherhood, Static Official said Trevor Beggs has the most beautiful background in Vancouver podcasting Canucks history. Your daughter made all that artwork. I know your daughter's in kindergarten. You talked about making her the best lunches ever. Does your daughter have homework yet? Is homework a thing in 2025 for kindergarten students?
No, man, I feel like I'm the one with the homework, Like, I got to figure out the lunches. I'm getting all these slips from the school, but like what she needs to bring and signing up for hot lunches and signing up for pack and all this. Like, I'm the one with the homework, man. What's going on here?
Man, oh man, I was assuming that maybe it's like, honestly, they should do it, man. I think 5-year-olds should start reading chapter books, man. We got to step it up. And your daughter's been reading for years and years. Like, get her to read Harry Potter started now, man. Honestly, let's save North America and the children by just making us all smarter. Speaking of being smarter, let's read some comments here on Locked On Canucks. Static saying this season is going to be insane. I can feel the energy in the air. If you're not watching this on YouTube, look at Static's display picture right now. The guy's got way too much swag, way too much aura. The only man to ever freestyle on a Vancouver Canucks podcast. I miss Static. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes we need more freestyles. I hope that maybe we could do it like every Friday of the year. Static, I'll pay you. We don't make a lot of money here. I'll pay you $50 a month if you come every Friday. If you come on Locked On Canucks and spit a freestyle to recap the week that was, $50 a month. Then you become a professional musician, and that's the dream that you want to dream. Okay, but again, he's saying that he can feel the energy in the air. What are you feeling going toward, as the offseason's ending?
Yeah, I think there's always optimism in September, man. And I've talked about it again. Like, I believe this Canucks team is a playoff team, even though the bettors don't believe it, even though most around the NHL aren't really believing it. You look at betting platforms, look at power rankings. The Canucks are outside the top 16, which makes sense. They were not a playoff team last year. But I've said it before. It's so much went wrong. There's Murphy's Law here, right? I don't think this much is going to go wrong this time around, right? There should be less injuries. There should be bounce backs from some stars on this team that struggled immensely last year, whether it was performance, whether it was injury, and specifically Elias Pettersson and Thatcher Demko. I think there's enough here with the forward group and especially the defense and the goaltending that they're at least a playoff team. I don't think it's necessarily going to be easy to get there, but as long as they have middling injury luck, I think they're a playoff team. So I'm optimistic, man.
I'm getting closer and closer to, again, thinking that this team's going to win the Stanley Cup because we're the next New Jersey Devils and we're going to start the dead puck era all over again. I don't care. It is what it is. Okay. And look at this. Like, Trevor, I read books and the whole Deepak Chopra thing, right? I connect everything. Everything is, look at this. Can you actually play the music? Because I'm about to say something. Oh, yeah.
Let's do it. Okay. Kyle's busting the move, man. Let's go.
No, not this music. Not this music. The pray. Let's pray together.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Trevor, you know how I've been comparing this team to the New Jersey Devils? And keep the comments coming about rating Rutherford and Allvin. I see a bunch of 7s. I see a bunch of 4s. I'm going to go through all these. Again, I've been comparing the Canucks to the New Jersey Devils. Great goaltending, great defense. I compared Quinn Hughes to Scott Niedermayer so many times. Okay, who was the best forward on that New Jersey Devils team that kept winning cups?
I'm thinking like Jason Arnott or Patrik Elias.
Well, there you go. The second guy. Say his name again.
Patrik Elias.
What's the last name?
Elias. Oh my God, man.
Okay. And who's our best forward?
Hey, okay. I see what you're doing there, Kyle. Gassing up the alien himself, Elias Pettersson. I like it. Okay. There you go.
I'm a smart man. I'm a smart Hindu, Trevor.
Not bad. I was looking at the pronunciation of his name. It's Patrik Elias. There we go. Okay, I think I'm saying it right. I don't know, man.
What's our GM's first name?
Oh my.
Let's grade Allvin and Rutherford. What's the hope going into the season? Again, the Canucks are winning the Stanley Cup. I don't give a puck. Ricky's saying he's got 6 out of 10 faith in management and 8 out of 10 in the players. Why not give management a 7 out of 10 then, bro? This guy's harsh. You know, some people, again, not liking the fact that Rutherford and Allvin were so loud and dramatic last year. Maybe to get more respect for a management group moving forward, we need to see that they're going to shut up this time around. Smirky saying a solid 7. Sensei saying a solid 7.5. 8.2 for the players if they stay healthy. And man, oh man, like I'm liking how we haven't seen. Is anyone giving them a 1 or 2? Yo, honestly, I'm surprised. I'm happy, bro. I'm happy.
Well, Kyle, we went through it about a week or two ago, right? When we power ranked Pacific Division teams based on position. Like, I think there's a recipe for the Canucks to have the best goaltending in the division. Like, I would say they have the best right now. At the second best at worst, like maybe the Kings are better. I would say they absolutely have the best defense core. Like maybe Edmonton's the only team that's better there, but I would lean Vancouver. It's the forward group that we have questions about, and I think I had them 5th among the 8 Pacific Division teams. Look, I mean, look, there's a recipe for the Canucks to be dangerous next year. And again, I know there's been bad moves initially from Patrik Allvin and Jim Rutherford, missteps from how they've spoken publicly to the moves they've made. You see it in the comments too about like, you know, it'll hinge on how Suter and Joshua do next season. Like how good they look in other jerseys. But for me right now, I'm leaning a solid 7 for this management team. It was probably closer to a 9 after the 2023-24 season. But some missteps last year, having them back into 7. Again, not in love with some of the moves they made, including, you know, bringing in Kane and, you know, letting Suter and Joshua go. But I'm just looking at the Canucks cap sheet right now. And as much as you want to quibble with some of the moves they've made, this is a pretty clean cap sheet, Kyle. When I'm looking at the contracts on this book, like obviously Elias Pettersson stands out as the potential albatross if he can't bounce back, but I am believing he's going to bounce back in some capacity. But aside from that, like, tell me I'm wrong. Like, do the Canucks have any bad contracts on their book other than potentially Elias Pettersson?
No, they don't. Which, you know, leads me to this comment. This one's coming from James Moore. Don't Google him. Please don't Google him. James Moore saying, if Joshua and Suter have huge years and Brock Besser tanks by the Olympic break, that's how this management will be judged. You know, you brought up the whole contract situation. Some people are rationalizing with moving Dakota Joshua for like a 4th round pick to the Leafs because, oh, we signed a bad contract, right? I think some people, you're hearing that. We pay too much for him, which is not fair. Like, what the hell are you talking about? This guy had a great season, signed an extension, and in his first season with that extension had to deal with everything. He did, like cancer and then a significant injury. So Joshua still has time to be worth, you know, that 3.25, 3.75. What was it?
3.25.
Yeah, there you go. He could do it. But again, Pius Suter, I feel like if he performs like he did last year, Allvin's going to look dumb for not giving him $4 million over 2 years. Or $8 million over 2 years. That's not going to be a good look. As opposed to, and to carry forward to the Brock Besser comment by James Moore, I don't know. That one feels like a great contract. Like, that's going to age well, and I don't know, keep Quinn and Pettersson happy. I don't know, like that. Looking back at this deal now, like how do you feel about that contract?
Yeah, the best one's fascinating, right? I mean, I think he signed at his market value, and we talked about the time. Like, you probably would have preferred to have it at 5 years, right? 7 years is a bit long, like taking him till he's 35 years old. But it's a fair contract at the end of the day. And the Canucks, they needed Brock Besser. I mean, obviously it's a down year last year, but this is a guy who reliably should be counted on for 30 goals and 60-ish points. And for that production, the contract's fine. The problem is the Canucks really need another elite player above Brock Besser. Like, Brock Besser is this team's best winger. They'd be in a better spot if they had an elite winger ahead of Brock Besser. Those are hard to find, but in the here and now, that contract's fine. I think Besser's another guy who should play better than he played last year. Now that all the noise is gone, now that he's signed long term, he can just focus on playing hockey. When Brock Besser can focus on playing hockey, that's when he plays his best.
Yeah.
We've seen in the past when he's distracted and there's noise going on, he's a guy that gets affected by that. But that shouldn't be an issue this season.
To get for a counterpoint, to play devil's advocate, I mean, he played extremely well after Allvin called him out saying that nobody wanted him. Like, he's got to channel the energy differently, right? It's sensitive, dude. Let's noise get to. Like, I think he's got to be more angry when he plays, be more hungry for wins. And this time around, I hope he is more accountable. And again, Miller's out of the room. There's going to be room for other players to step up and be leaders. And I hope that he, again, puts the team on his shoulders a bit more than he has in years past. Okay, last little note before we get out of here. You're talking about, you named a bunch of players: Evander Kane, Marcus Pettersson, Filipino, Elias Pettersson. Like, these guys are going to make Rutherford and Allvin look bad or good or great, considering how they do this season. How about Aatu Ratu? Like, we talk about us getting Hronik for Horvat. Like, if Aatu Ratu builds off of what he did last season, both in the AHL and the NHL, and turns into a legitimate top 9 center, maybe like just as good as Filipino, like 84 overall. Impact player, can play both sides of the rink, can win faceoffs, maybe become a penalty killer. I said this maybe like 18 months ago, but this may be one of the greatest trades in Canucks history. And no, straight up, because Aatu Ratu and keeping him for this long, developing him for this long. Again, if he becomes an impact player, that's going to make Allvin look incredible. Like, turning Horvat into Ratu and Filip Hronik, that's like, again, I'll use the term. There's a 51% chance that looks sexy.
Yeah, I think it's almost a win-win scenario for Canucks management, in the sense that if Ratu doesn't look good, you're not going to fault Canucks management too much. It's going to bring into account the not getting another center. So maybe that's not completely true, but Ratu in itself, him struggling, isn't a huge knock on management because he's young, right? He's played 48 NHL games. It's, he's being thrust into a role right now that he's maybe not ready for. But if he, on the flip side, if he performs great, then, like you said, Kyle, this trade's going to look like a stroke of genius. It's going to look like a stroke of genius that they didn't overpay for a second line center, because they have a guy like Aatu Ratu, who's a solid contributor to this team. So I don't know if him and himself is going to make or break Allvin and Rutherford in our opinion of them in the upcoming year, but he has the chance to make them look really good.
Yeah, 100%, man. And he's a bit of he's a quiet X factor, man. A real quiet X factor. And I don't know, again, I'll use the term again for the third and last time. There's a 51% chance that what's his name? Essa Lundell or Anton Lundell?
Anton Lundell, yeah.
Okay, Anton Lundell. Florida Panthers, third line center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, there you go. I'm telling you, man, he could be a really good player. A lot of pedigree. Before his draft year, falls to the second round. Could have taken that the wrong way. We've seen a lot of young players be like the first overall pick in like some junior drafts and fall to the second round and never catch their stride again. Like, this guy's actually gotten better. Straight up. So I have a lot of faith in what Ratu can do. Well, anyways, hit the like button, share the show. Last Friday of the offseason, we did it. Congratulations. We all did it. Straight up. Speaking of us all, join the Discord. 105 members. I didn't even know we had 105 members in the Discord. A cool place to talk about the Canucks while on the toilet. Static, if you do want to freestyle every Friday, I saw you say you want that offer. Dude, let's do it, man. Let's do it. I'll sign you to a 360 deal. Put all your songs on Spotify. Take 99% of the profits, but don't worry, man. You'll be happy.
There you go, man. There you go. Fantastic. Yeah, maybe me and Static will freestyle against each other. I'm watching Stands by Eminem, that new movie that just came out.
Okay.
All the battle rap he was doing, man. I'll chat on my battle rap. It'll be a solid 2 out of 10, man. Let's go.
Let's go, man. Shout to Static. Shout to Trevor. Shout to you and you and you and you. Do us another favor too, if you want. Again, give us a 5-star rating on the podcast side of things. I don't know. It'll help us out a lot. If you want to know why, I'm gonna post something in the Discord this weekend. We're also gonna do a fantasy hockey draft too. Trevor, you got to set that up. 12-team league, 14-team league, whatever it is. We'll start that before the season. There's only one rule: nobody's allowed to draft Edmonton Oilers players. So no McDavid, no Draisaitl, no Bouchard. No, don't smirk at me, Trevor. Come on.
Yep, there we go. I'll eliminate them from the league. Let's go, man. All right, man. Everyone have a great weekend. Hockey is back this week in Canucks Prospect Showcase. Should be streamed on Canucks.com. If it's not, don't at me. If you want to at me, we'll be back on Monday or before here on Locked On Canucks.